In this video, we're going to go over the third page of my review, which has a couple of items, nothing too difficult. Starting off with ceiling effect. A ceiling effect is basically what happens when everyone does too well at a measure to detect any difference. So if you look at this graph, you can see that all of the psych majors did so well on the test. None of them got any wrong, okay? There was very small amount of difference between psych majors who took the exam. So we can't tell the difference between them before intervention, after intervention, nothing. And so you might imagine this makes sense. So for example, if we just give another example, if we're measuring the effect of like an exercise pill, right? This pill is supposed to make you really strong really fast. And our sample is all Olympic athletes. So maybe our test is how many push-ups can they do. And all of them are doing 100 push-ups. 100 push-ups in a minute. They're crazy. You give them a pill, they do 100. No pill, they do 100. There's no difference. So in any case, you can see that in either scenario, what's happening is that everyone's doing too well. There's no difference. Now, by contrast, you might have the effect of a diet pill, and your sample is hyper-obese individuals who all have asthma. Now, as you might imagine, in that case, you give them a pill or you don't give them a pill, they're going to have a lot of trouble performing a physical task. And so you won't be able to tell if the pill worked or not. Same thing if we give a test to psychology majors, non-psychology majors. Maybe it's really hard. The psych majors do okay, or they do a little better, a little worse, and they can interact with it. But the jargon is so difficult that if you're not a psych major, you don't get it at all. It doesn't matter what intervention is, you just don't have the background for it, and so you have a floor effect where you can't tell the difference between the conditions, and you see there's a slight difference, but it's so small it doesn't matter. It's not statistically significant. Those two are pretty straightforward, and if you understand these two graphs, you should be good for both of these concepts on the exam. Moving on, we get into chapter 9, which is entitled Small Sample Research. And what we have first off is this term applied research, which is something that's mentioned in previous chapters. Essentially, applied research involves performing a study in order to get a specific result, product, application. So, to contrast, we have to understand basic research. And basic research is research which aims to advance a scientific knowledge base, but maybe doesn't have any particular application. For example, if I'm doing research on, I don't know, let's say that we're doing research on a specific medication. We want to see if this works. This is applied research. Can we use this drug to treat a condition? Can we use it as a medication? That would be applied. If, on the other hand, we're researching the mating patterns of some species of animal, that increases our knowledge base, right? Our zoological knowledge base, but it doesn't. There's no really application for that. I'm sure if you're ingenuitive enough, you can come up with one, but hopefully that demonstrates the point. Then we have case study, and a case study is exactly what it sounds like. We take a specific case, a specific instance, and we study it to learn things about a phenomenon. For example, this generally includes the study of things that have already occurred. So we have Phineas Gage, right? He got a rod through his frontal cortex. We can't replicate that ethically. We can't do that again, but we want to learn what happens when you get a large portion of your frontal cortex knocked out. So we do a case study of something that already happened. We do a case study of Phineas Gage and see how that impacted him. Now, it might include some manipulation. So, for example, the rod would be the manipulation in the case of Phineas Gage. But you can't directly test hypotheses because there's no control. We can't have an alternate ego of Phineas Gage who was there on the day of and who's gone through similar things, and he just didn't get a rod through the head. But we can use this to develop new hypotheses. For example, if Phineas Gage had some sort of behavioral change, we can hypothesize that that portion of the frontal lobe is responsible for that specific behavioral attribute, and so we can do subsequent testing and analysis to see if there's converging evidence to support that hypothesis. If, on the other hand, our hypothesis was anyone who gets their frontal cortex taken out dies, and Phineas Gage did not die, that disproves the old hypothesis. So that just explains case 3. Couple of definitions: idiographic, study of individual; nomothetic, study of groups and averages. You should know the difference and that these two modes complement one another. We should know what testimonials are. So it's just someone testifying to what happened. So you can testify in court, you can testify research, design, and analysis was the greatest course ever. I testify that it really helped me understand research. That would be a testimonial. At best, a testimonial constitutes a case study. So you're testifying to your experience in your case. But it does not constitute proof, and at most you can treat it as a single data point. So understand the limitations of a testimonial. A testimonial does not constitute causative evidence. Then we have single case experiments, and a lot of the chapter, a lot of the content on the last exam may have to do with single case experiments, and hopefully in the next video we'll go into that.